Thank you very much for joining the judge panels today. I think what we have to do is we have to pick up the top 3 companies from this cohort. Maybe we can start by briefly discuss like your thoughts on the top few companies you're interested in, and then we can come up with a conclusion of which are the top 3 companies we want to choose. Another thing is, I think because this session will be recorded, I think it's also good to share your ideas and any suggestions or advices to those companies. So it can be also general discussions about the industry, etc. Cool. Maybe William, would you like to
start? The top 3 is my top 3 list as well. So I think these 3 companies, they demonstrated a fairly innovative technologies with some evidence or traction on their business models. At least we know how they're going to profit from the technologies, and we see some products like the Gense Technologies. We see the products itself, how it is going to be applied. So I think, and generally, they are the top 3 from my list. Yeah.
Okay. So which one is the top 1 you think is the best one from among those 3?
Actually, it is a tie for me for C12 and C13.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think both of them did a good job. I mean, I'm quite at least from my point of view, I'm quite impressed by the technologies. But perhaps it has been there for years. I'm not sure, but at least from my understanding, I like the technologies, and the social impact is quite immense as well. And if it is commercialized successfully, and I think it will do good to the society in a very large extent.
Great, perfect. So I think your pick is very clear. It's Greater Bay. It's Gense, and it's also the C18. I think they are doing the muscle.
Yeah, the mitochondria.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Thank you.
No problem.
How about Raymond?
All right. Actually, those 3 are the top 3. Are actually also my top 3. But I just want to mention C11, which is not there, because I think they're addressing some of the pain points that in terms of communication, and also highlighting if they can bring in business for the doctors in Hong Kong. I think that would be this is a really good gadget to have. In my knowledge, I don't think there's much of that being built in terms of the network. Most of the doctors are from China, China doctors addressing the China patients.
Yeah, exactly.
So this bridge, I think it's quite good. And also, I think in terms of the value creation for Hong Kong is that there's a lot of trust for Hong Kong doctors. And I think, building a business for traveling to Hong Kong later, for getting in touch with the doctors in Hong Kong, this may be a start. So I just want to highlight that, but I just bring it up to discussion.
I think you are very experienced, and have lots of business experience. But I think, what do you think is the difficulties for such companies? For example, there are lots of companies doing consulting, online consulting, connect patients and doctors in China, and there are also few listed companies already doing the similar thing. But maybe they are focusing on a very domestic market. But this company is focusing on cross-border medicines, right? Medical services. So what do you think maybe the challenges for such companies? I think there are lots of doing similar things. What are your thoughts on those areas?
Right. Actually, I don't know about the market scene, so there may be a lot of competition. So I need to study that. That's of course. But then I think the way that they approach that is that the doctors from Hong Kong, also they have a full service in terms of drug delivery, cross-border, which is actually to my surprise, and also insurance coverage. And I think in terms of the potential problems or pain points that they have in order to have the full service, I think they're theoretically addressing them. Okay. So I thought that's a good thing about that. But the execution part definitely is difficult. Maybe it sounds good on paper, but I thought just that's a start, because there are a lot of good doctors in Hong Kong that are untapped,
Yeah.
So this is also a market that I have seen some other people are trying to build.
Yeah.
Is to build as many traveling, traveling to Hong Kong to see doctors, and so I thought I just want to highlight that.
Cool. But like your top three is still like
My top three is still the top three.
Is the top three.
Yeah.
Cool. How about
So-
Reza? You are the expert in the field.
I have a top two. The rest is difficult. So the first one for me would be Greater Bay Biotech. I think I concur on that one. Reason is very simple. Technology is not honestly revolutionary. It's not new. I think it exists for decades. What really is interesting is the type of markets and the patient centricity, which is, let's say, around diabetes, to make the life easier for patients. I think that's quite good. As I was sharing a bit earlier, I think they also try to address a bit the oncology side of it. They have to choose. I think it's quite difficult as a young company to be everywhere. But then the next step of the model is how you partner with, let's say, pharma companies, CMOs, CROs, to really make sure that your technology finally is brought to the large scale, which is like what I didn't really see in the model. But the team is very strong, definitely. Yeah. So number one. I would start with my number two, which is, I would say, the Singaporean company, Quantumtx. First, because I would like another Singaporean company to come to Hong Kong. So that's one good reason. But beyond that, and it would be the second this year for us, because we brought already one. But for Quantumtx, I think what I like is really that they see themselves as a medical device. I would still challenge a bit the market they try to address. They said the seniors. Personally, I think they should consider something else with a higher power of buying this type of service or etc. More a bit like consumer almost type of thing. Which would work in Hong Kong and China, because you have affluent millennials who could buy that. But definitely, if they can manage to really show they have a differentiating technology, which I was not sure if the IP was theirs, because they said there is an IP in the US, but I didn't get a chance to ask the question. That would be my question remaining, but definitely a great company. For Gense Technology, I must share with you my open doubt. I have seen so many of these companies pitching me, pitching the company, etc. I don't say they are not good. They definitely have something. What I really think is important, there are two things. First is, again, the efficiency of the technology itself. How do you compare to other solutions in the market?
Yeah.
You have Balloon, for example, who's also in Hong Kong, etc. It's a bit different, but still addressing the same type of needs from a patient perspective. What really is missing for me here is the model. And I know they showed outpatient, etc. Yeah. The distribution is going to be key. And it's very difficult here, because how are you going to bring your product to the mass? How are you going to really take a cut of that? Is the doctor willing to give you 200 Hong Kong dollar each time, or the patient? They seem to think it's easy. I challenge them to really try it to a wider audience. I'm not talking about the niche who can afford to pay.
Yeah.
If you go in new territories, etc., where you have also a lot of people, for example, 200 Hong Kong dollar might be something you don't want to spend every week on your drugs. So you have to think a little bit about the model. But definitely could be a good candidate. So I would say that in my mind, I like the on-the-go AIoT. The only questions I had for that is, would that be classified as a medical device in China? Especially they rely a lot on, they try to show the online-offline side of it, so which implies data. Data is very sensitive these days, we all know. So we have to really be a bit cautious on how you generate the cash from that model, which to me would be the key remaining question for C14. But I would say between these four, we are roughly aligned on who should benefit from some help.
So you are happy to put C12, C13, C18 as your top three?
I would say for Gense Technology, I'm happy to also rate it if they can prove how they compare to the competition, which is really what I honestly didn't really see, and how they structure their model. Otherwise, I would tend to say C14.
Yeah, cool. Actually, I agree with you. My top three is JBB and the Singapore company and J14. Because first, like I'm the person who always have the muscle pains. I think if I someone, so if something can help me, I think that's really helpful. But like I think another from a business perspective, I think that company is very easy to scale. They have like the SaaS model, and they have the. I think the only concern is like they have to lower the cost of the whatever the sensor. Otherwise, no one will purchase if it's too expensive, right? But I agree. Like for on the go, I think they have like from a business perspective, I think they have a very large market as well.
That I agree. C14, the market is there.
Yeah.
And also actually the benefits can be easily done, can
Yeah.
be easily achieved.
Yeah.
And so personally, I think I benefit a lot from some of these experience. So the market is large. I think the key thing is to actually partner up with the right guy in China in order to roll it. And
Cool. Yeah, great. So, Raymond, are you going to stick with your rankings as previously, or you want to?
all right. Let's pass to Joyce and
sure.
let me think about that.
So actually, the top three are my top three as well. Actually, I like among the top three, I actually gave the highest score to C13 Gense. So I agree with your argument about like how good they are and what's the go-to-market strategy. But then my thinking is more like if they can make home diagnostic more common or more cost-effective, then it can benefit the whole society as a whole. But of course, like the technology has yet to be proven, and I would like to see more research coming out from them about like how accurate the diagnosis is, right? So that is very key. But then in terms of breakthrough, if they can really do it in a low-cost way, that would be a huge breakthrough. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean C14, the on the go is also my fourth one, very close to Gense. But I mean, from their presentation, I can't see like what is actually the value adding, because you can find some free stuff online about recovery from like physical injuries, about how to do exercise at home. And if we want to incorporate the additional elements, which is the online diagnostics, it will be about the supply. Like who will be providing the diagnostics? They need to find partners in China. And so there are some dependencies which if they make it clear in the presentation, like how they're going to source the supply of those professional advice, then they will get a higher score, I would say. Yeah.
And for C14, about the devices that they are offering, for example, like the shoe pad or the chair like rest, I think there are plenty of products like that in China. Yeah. So how you link that up with your, let's say, result would be very key, or how you can convince your customers to buy in to your brand, I think is very key.
Yeah, marketing is like super important in China. You have to do like that. You have to spend lots of money on marketing as well for such consumer products. Yeah, absolutely. Cool. So I think maybe the conclusion is that we choose C12, C13, C18 as our top three picks for today. Oh, good. Cool. Okay. I think thank you guys for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you guys.
Thanks for having us.